My body was shutting down. I'd become very sick, very ill. I could barely walk up the stairs, and I'd lost all energy and all motivation. I genuinely didn't believe I had long left to live at all. My name is Zach of Zach Coaching. I help people achieve their dream bodies and increase their self-confidence, their discipline, and their overall mindset regarding everything nutrition and fitness. With this video, I want to give you a little bit of my backstory regarding how I went from 6% body fat last year in a happy relationship, killing business, to on the edge of my body shutting down, barely being able to walk upstairs, barely being able to walk outside for any longer than 5 to 10 minutes. Then how I managed to heal and overcome that by switching to a more plant-based diet. So this time last year, I was with my partner who had a rare type of diabetes. So we decided that through our relationship, we was going to try to figure out the cause of the underlying cause of what was going on in the body and try to overcome it to stabilize the blood sugars and, help her become healthier, basically. In doing this, we decided to go onto the ketogenic diet. For those who don't know what the ketogenic diet is, it's basically high protein, high fat, and carbohydrates under 50 grams a day. This looked like eating more animal protein, more fish, more meats, more eggs, more cheese, more dairy, more yogurt, and eating less things with fiber in, eating less vegetables, less fruits, less carbohydrates, less grains, all of that business. Now, initially, I got in really good shape. I began to lose body fat really rapidly. And at first, I had almost like an increase of energy. I felt more stimulated, more mentally stimulated. I felt more cognitively switched on. I was feeling better, more energetic. However, my strength in the gym was declining slightly, but not enough for me to kind of pull back my training, which might have been my first mistake. So whilst on this diet, I continued to train 4 or 5 times a week. I continued to train to failure, and I continued to push rather hard, pushing myself not only in the gym, but outside the gym with business, with extracurricular cardio, and with my relationship as well. Then my bowel movements started to become irregular. I started to struggle with constipation. I mean, I've been struggling with IBS for about 3 years anyway, but this constipation was prominent, and I wasn't able to go to the toilet for maybe 2-3 days sometimes. I put this down to the lack of carbohydrates, the lack of fiber, so there was less poo, I imagined, and that the meat I was eating and the protein I was eating was just being absorbed and used as either fuel or as muscle growth or whatever the body needs protein for. Now, from the things that I know and I've researched and learned, I realized that that wasn't the case, and my body was beginning to back up with all the animal, with all the protein I was consuming. The lack of fiber being able to push it through. So this fecal matter was starting to build up in my body, in my intestines, in my digestive system. And then it was starting to ferment, if you like. It was starting to rot or putrefy, and then bad bacteria would begin to accumulate on all this meat and all this animal and all this protein that I'd been consuming. You see, poo is toxic. Feces is toxic. It's elimination. It needs to be out the body as quickly as possible. When it begins to build up in the system, it starts to create bad bacteria, and this affects your gut bacteria. And then the toxins leak into your body, and then your body becomes toxic. And then from there, it's just a nightmare, basically. So after the constipation, I began to experience insomnia. I was barely sleeping at night. I would probably get 2 or 3 hours max. I'd wake up around 1 or 2 a.m., but I would still feel quite energized, weirdly energized. And I would go to the gym. So not only was I not sleeping, not only was I pushing myself hard in the gym, not eating any carbohydrates, I was constipated and my body was beginning to become backed up with toxic waste. I was then further pushing myself on less sleep. Now I've realized that this energy that I would get on the ketogenic diet was, I think, from 2 things. The initial thing, it was from reducing the sugar. Now I was quite high on the sugar. I did like the sugar, and I'll be eating a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, a lot of refined grains. And initially pulling that away kind of let my brain and my body recover from that, and I got this initial burst of energy. My blood sugars were stabilizing for the first time. But I also think on a ketogenic diet, with all this animal products, all this protein, this constipation, this lack of sleep, the body goes into like a state of stress, and stress is actually quite energizing. For example, that's how coffee works. When we drink coffee, the body releases cortisol, the body releases some adrenaline, and it makes us feel fired up and ready to go, energized. So when your body's in a constant state of stress, you almost feel like wired. You almost feel highly energized. And I think I misperceived this false energy as actual energy. And it's only now that I've been on a plant-based diet and having more carbohydrates, more fruits, more vegetables, that I actually realize what real energy, real sustainable energy is, as well as being able to maintain a sense of calm and peace in the body. So anyway, bowel movements, constipation, started to struggle with insomnia. Maybe a few weeks up to a month after that, I began experiencing very weak legs. Now imagine you've just done a leg workout. and you finish the leg workout, you go to get up out the leg press, you walk along a few steps and your legs feel like jelly and they feel quite empty because you need to refuel and refill them. Initially, it felt like that. However, it got to the point where I was unable to get up out the chair without having to use my arms, where I was unable to go up the stairs without taking some deep breaths and maybe a rest halfway, and going from walking an hour and a half every day, getting my steps in, to barely even being able to walk 10 minutes around the block. Me being me, I decided to push through, and because I'd become so addicted to the physical aspects, the vanity side of how I was looking, how I was able to portray myself on social media, how it was benefiting my business looking this way and being this disciplined, I decided to ignore the warning signs and the signals my body was giving me. It wasn't long before I started experiencing chest pains, heart palpitations, and I really did begin to kind of worry and question what I was doing then. I went to the doctors a few times, got a few poo samples, some blood tests. However, in all honesty, they was useless. To this day, I am still waiting to hear from the hospital regarding getting me into a phlebotomist to look at my bloods, because my bloods were kind of all over the place. My white blood cell count, my red blood cell count was kind of here, there, and everywhere. I had fecal tests, I had urine tests. Still waiting to hear back from those. Absolutely terrible. I rang them a couple times and they said that I should have received a letter. Anyway, by the by, basically I gave up on that. I gave up on the doctors. And then not long after that, my relationship fell apart. My sex drive disappeared. Everything in my life fell to bits. My granny died within that time. It was a difficult time. Even thinking about it now is kind of like, whew. I decided to travel to Bali. I decided to sell up, get rid of my rented house, sell my settee, sell everything, tell the telly, take the money, take my coaching business, my online coaching business, and move to Bali. I don't know why. It was just kind of a thought that I was given by one of my mentors at the time, an idea, and it felt right. It felt like God was calling me to go. So I went to Bali for 2 months. During that time in Bali, the weakness, the fatigue was still there a little bit, but it began to disappear. However, the insomnia became worse, which could be one of many factors, including feeling quite socially isolated, obviously the jet lag, and I also realized that iodinized table salt with extra iodine in, and salmon as well, which has iodine in, seemed to be giving me worse insomnia and also made me feel quite on edge. Now, I think what had happened is my thyroid had started to speed up because of the lack of carbs and because of all the protein and everything else I was doing and how physically active I was. So that every time I had extra iodine within the salt or within the fish, the salmon, because I was really pounding the salmon, my thyroid gland had become overactive. And I think that's where the insomnia, the weakness in the legs had come from. Because I've noticed that sometimes the chronic fatigue will slowly come back, but only when I have anything that's not sea salt or pink salt. And obviously I don't eat fish now, so I don't know about that, but I think there's something related to the iodine content there. But anyway, in Bali, the chronic fatigue started to reduce. And naturally in Bali, there's less access to meat and it's more expensive. So I would tend to opt for things like tempeh for my protein sources or tofu for my protein source, or I'd have a little bit of fish here and there. So I was automatically kind of coming away from the animal products anyway, eating more fruits and vegetables, eating more grains and things like this. So I was putting carbohydrates back into my body. I was avoiding kind of iodinized salt and salmon, and I would be going onto a more plant-based diet, not kind of specifically to be a plant-based or a vegan or whatever, just because that was what I had access to and it was easier to do that and cheaper to do that. I also noticed that some of the weakness would come during times of stress, and obviously some of the insomnia would come during times of stress. So obviously when my body was going into an overly stressed state, when we're stressed, we struggle to sleep. When we're stressed, the digestive system takes a bit of a hit. When we're stressed, we become more exhausted, less energized. And I think because the amount of cortisol in my body from doing the ketogenic diet, from my granny dying, through being in a relationship that was becoming toxic, through overworking myself, that was already present in my body. My central nervous system was switched on all the time. I was constantly in fight or flight system. But that when I experienced more stress on top of that in my day-to-day basis, that would kind of overwhelm my body and I would struggle to sleep that night and I would become weak. So there's a couple of things and factors going on here. You can imagine how difficult it was for me to go through this as a coach while my body's shutting down, trying to recommend certain dietary protocols and foods and ways of living for people when it wasn't working for me, when all I'd ever tried to do was be healthy and make everybody else healthy and my body was shutting down. Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. So anyway, during Bali, my energy started to go up. However, my sleep quality and quantity began to come down. as I began to feel more lonely, more self-isolated, going through a breakup and going straight into solo traveling and not having the social skills to be able to make new friends, I started to become a bit of a recluse. So then the insomnia crept in, bit of cabin fever here and there. I was just in a bad way. Now, during traveling in Bali, I did mention I sort of struggled with IBS for about 3 years. During Bali, the IBS symptoms really kind of reduced. A couple of factors for this. I think coming away from the meat and the animal gave my gut a break, because obviously animal protein and chicken and meats and fishes are a bit more difficult to digest than things like fruits and vegetables. But I also think learning to relax a little bit during Bali, where I was working with a therapist to kind of just learn to pull back a bit, learn to relax, learn to reduce the stress, and just to kind of enjoy life a little bit. I think that helped. So IBS symptoms linked with stress, as we know. Also eating fermented foods like tempeh and kimchi. So these fermented foods really kind of help nourish the gut bacteria, really help the gut health, and really help us, the digestive system, the digestive tract. And I think really kind of packing in those tempeh, that kimchi, reducing the stress, coming away from the animal products, helped my stomach to heal a little bit and to reset slightly. So I did 2 months in Bali, and then I went into Thailand for 2 months. During my time in Thailand, I did start to eat more meat and more fish, especially more salmon, and a lot more salt. They seem to put salt in everything over there. So I think my iodine content was going up again. I was also experiencing more stress because of the environment that I was in. I was getting kind of tired of traveling at this point. I was missing my mum, I was missing my home, and I was going through that kind of breakup phase that you go through maybe 4, 5, 6 months as a male into a breakup, where you're starting to miss the person, you're starting to miss having somebody there, and all the rest of it. That's where I was really struggling with insomnia. My constipation crept back in, so I wasn't pooing as much. And yeah, it's just started to go tits again from there, really. It was only when I got to India 2 months later. So we did 2 months in Bali, 2 months in Thailand, went to India, and I got deli belly from a chicken curry. It was then I decided that it's time to go plant-based. So the funny thing about this was 6 to 8 months before I decided to go traveling, I had this message from God, if you like, or from Source, or a download, or just a thought that I should probably go and eat fruits and nuts. It was just this constant reoccurring thought and feeling of, I really just want to eat fruits and I just want to eat nuts. Now, I believe that the body sends us signals in terms of what it wants, in regards to what it needs, in terms of nutrients, minerals, vitamins. And I think the healthier you get, the cleaner you get your diet, the cleaner you get your body, the easier it is to kind of hear these signals, and the more signals you get. Like if you don't eat fruits and vegetables very often, how does your body know to send you signals that it needs certain fruits and certain vegetables because of certain minerals and vitamins, when it's not had them to know that it can get those vitamins and minerals from the fruit and veg? So the more fruit and veg you eat, the more your body associates, I can get iron and vitamin K and vitamin C from this certain fruit or this certain vegetable. So I'm going to let this person know that I need more of this. So anyway, my body was telling me to go fruits and nuts for a long time, but I kind of ignored the signals, and I was too worried about losing muscle, because I personally identified so much with this muscle that I built, because it helped me build a lifestyle, it helped me build a business, it helped me get women and all the rest of it. So to all of a sudden stop eating as much protein and to go into fruits and nuts where I'd be eating less protein, probably lose some muscle, it wasn't a very comfortable thought for me. But eventually, after getting deli belly and after seeing chickens hanging off the side of mopeds with broken legs and broken wings, I decided to go plant-based and come away from animal products. And I haven't looked back since. Just 2 to 3 days after going plant-based, my energy increased massively. My sleep improved, my insomnia disappeared. I was pooing like 2-3 times a day, big old poos as well. I mean, I was getting rid of some stuff, and I just felt so light, so free, so happy that I'd finally found something that was going to help to alleviate this thing that I thought I was going to be stuck with for the rest of my life. During the rest of the month I was in India, I was opting for veggie alternatives. I was cooking meals, I was eating quinoa, beans, tofu for my protein, and I was basically living off a lot more fruits and vegetables as well, more smoothies and things of this nature. Energy skyrocketed, bowel movements perfect, sleep fantastic. After months and months and months and months of feeling like I was dying, it took 2 to 3 days to kind of do a 180 turn on this. So I got home this year, 2023. I got back to the UK in halfway through March, and I've been back in the UK for around 5 months now. During that time, the IBS actually crept back in, believe it or not. Now, I wasn't sure if that was because the stress was back, because my body had associated the environment with how it used to feel, or whether it was the type of food I was eating. I mean, I was still eating bananas and things that I would be eating in India or in Thailand, but I wasn't able to digest them in the UK. And this was mind-boggling to me. Why was I not able to digest food effectively in the UK, the same foods that I was eating in India and in Thailand and in Bali? Even to this day, I'm still not completely sure. So over the last 5 months, I've really been on a mission, and I'm still on a mission. And I know this is going to take a lot longer than just 5 months, 6 months, maybe take a year, might take 3. But I've been on a mission to improve my overall health, to heal from whatever dis-ease or illness that was becoming me, that was taking over my body. I want to clear out my digestive system. I want to be energized every day. I want to be mentally clear every day. I want to be happy every day. And I am getting there. I am almost 80%, 90% better than what I was. I still get a little bit tired every now and again, but not the fatigue, the chronic fatigue that had become me before. Physically, I'm now able to run 10 kilometers quite easily, whereas before I couldn't even walk 10 minutes. I'm able to go to the gym and do resistance training 3 times a week and still feel like I've got energy after, not feeling like I've got to take a 2-hour sleep to recover from that. I'm also doing 2 yoga sessions a week as well. So trying to work with my flexibility, my breathing, being in the present moment. I am also focusing on being in the present moment, breathing into my belly, focusing on putting my attention into my heart, into my digestive system, into my gut, expanding my belly as I breathe out. And what this will do is this is taking me out of my head. Rather than being logical and stressed all the time, I'm able to get myself back into my body, back into feeling, back into the present moment, and allow my body to de-stress. When we get out of the head and into the body and into the breathing, the central nervous system calms down. We become less stressed. We become more relaxed, more peaceful. And this state of being allows the body to heal and to recover. The difficult problem I've had is losing muscle. Right now, I am rather slender, rather skinny, emaciated maybe. And for me, having built an identity around someone that is muscular, who is all about discipline and this, that, and everything else, and protein and reps and all the rest of it, it's difficult for me to let that aspect and that character go. But I know that I need to let that go in order to heal fully, because it's okay looking that way and being that guy. But if I'm going to die from that in 5-10 years time, or even a year's time, there's no point. I would rather live, the saying they say, I would rather live 50 years as a lion than 80 years as a sheep. Well, the funny thing is a lion only lives for about 12 to 13 years anyway. But I've realized as I get older that I don't want to be the lion. I would rather be the sheep, in a sense that I live long, that I'm able to be healthy, but still be free. And health is wealth. With the more health you have, or the healthier you are, the more time you have on this planet, the better able you are to build success, whether that's financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. The more time you have on this planet, the longer you've got to achieve your goals. And the longer you've got to experience the beauty that life has to offer as well. The love, the relationships, the events. Now, my current protocols is mainly fruit-based. I'm working towards a fruit-based fast and then eventually a juice cleanse with caloric irrigations and such. At the minute, I'm doing fruit up until the end of the day, and I will have one cooked meal at the end of the day, which is basically like grains, some sun-dried tomatoes maybe, some frozen peas, some garden peas, some broccoli, some Brussels, and maybe a little bit of seasoning, some salt, some pepper, some paprika, and some tomato puree. I'm keeping it simple, but I'm really enjoying it as well. I'm drinking a lot of smoothies. I'm eating a lot of honeydew melon in the morning. I'm eating a lot of apples and watery fruits, and this is helping my digestive system. This is helping me poo regularly. This has helped. My sleep has never been better. My energy has never been better. And I'm trying to get some tempeh in on workout days just to keep my protein up. Like I said, eventually I want to go for first of all, a 5-day fruit and overnight oats fast. So it'll just be fruits, but then on workout days, I'll have an overnight oats, which is raw, uncooked, whole ingredients only. That's to kind of fuel the workouts. Once I've done 5 days with that, I'm going to work onto a 3-day fruit fast where day 1, I will only eat honeydew melon. Day 2, I will only eat apples. Day 3, I will only eat bananas. Around about 2,500 calories a day. This is just to kind of see if I've got the discipline, which I believe I have got the discipline, but to prove to myself that I can do longer. So once I've done a 3-day fruit only fast, I will then look to do a 7-day fruit only fast, just to see how the body responds, to see how much muscle I lose, to see if it affects my health or my well-being or my ability to get work done and to work out and to run, because I still want the energy to be able to give to my clients and to give to myself for my resistance training, for my cardio, and for my yoga. Once I've done the 7-day and I've completed that and I feel it works for me and I'm feeling healthy and happy with it, I'm then going to work to a 30-day juice cleanse, which is basically buy a juicer and you just drink the juice of vegetables and fruits for 30 days, which allows the system to fully clear out. Towards the end of that fast, I'm going to incorporate something called psyllium husk and some kind of a clay that I've been reading up on to help push the last stuff through. And I'm also going to look into colonic irrigation and enemas towards the end to clear out any stuff that's been backed up, such as mucoid plaques that I've been looking into, which are not pretty. But I feel that that's going to fully cleanse, fully reset, fully heal my digestive system that I've been struggling with for the last 3 years and beyond when I really think back about it. That's where I'm at with my journey. I have come from being unhealthy, being able to not even walk 10 minutes, to now having enough energy to start a YouTube channel, to work with my clients, to run 10 kilometers once or twice a week, to go to the gym 3 times a week, to go yoga twice a week. I've got more energy than I have in a long time, and I am so grateful. I am so grateful and so blessed. And there's so many more things that I could go into in terms of what I've been doing regarding journaling, regarding my therapy, but I don't want to make this video any longer than it already is. However, if you are interested in anything that I'm doing, you want to know more about anything that I'm doing, please drop a comment at the bottom of this video regarding what you're interested in, maybe what you're going through, anything that I can kind of make a video on to help you guys. Over the next few weeks, I will be touching more, and over the next few months and over the next year, I'm going to be releasing more videos, more content based around how you can get yourself out of these unhealthy situations, how you can improve your energy, how you can improve your mood, how you can improve your productivity in life, things you can do like journaling, meditation, and everything that I've already incorporated and worked on over the last 3 to 10 years that's helped me to get to where I am so that I can give back to you guys and help you get to where you want to be. That's everything for today. My first proper YouTube video. I apologize if it's been a bit scatterbrained here, there, and everywhere, but I hope you've got some value from it, guys. And if you have, please drop me a little thumbs up or a like and tickle the old YouTube algorithm. Drop me a subscribe and drop me a message just to let me know where you are, what you're going through, and if you can relate to anything that I've said. Have a fantastic day. Peace, love, and prosperity.